Hello, hello. Welcome back, welcome back. As we wait for our guest to join, I want to make sure one, everybody can hear me, and two, let me just, project my voice. Please excuse me for those, I'll probably say this again, but my allergies is fighting me back today. So, I don't know what that's about, and I'm not interested in hearing what that's about. But bear with me, you guys, because my allergies is like on one. All right, so we're gonna bring in our guests, and then we're gonna start. All right, Jenny, if you could just request to join, or Jeannie. Oh, I'm sorry if I um, pronounce your name wrong. But if you could request to join so we can start, let me see. Perfect. All right, let me let her in. All right, perfect, perfect.
Hey, hey.
Perfect.
How you
Hi.
doing?
Good. I'm sorry. I said Jenny. Is it Jeannie or Jenny?
It's Jenny, girl. My mama just spelled it wrong.
Oh.
She
No,
just said hell to other
listen,
end.
she knew you was gonna be different and one of a kind. She spelled it correct.
She just wanted that. I'm gonna receive that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I'm gonna have my whole little spiel, then we're gonna get right into it. As I was saying earlier, my allergies is fighting me back today.
Me
So
too.
please bear with me. I got my little piece of tissue here. But we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it through.
Well, we're gonna make it through. We're gonna make it through.
Yeah, so for all that is new here, welcome, welcome. All who've already been here, welcome back. This is In Session, in being an acronym for the word intentional. So intentional sessions where we use this platform to speak about all things relationships, whether that's the relationship you have with yourself and or the relationships that you have with other people. So that's your friends, your family, and even your partners. So we also use this platform to talk about conversations that we tend to silence. So just because we're not talking about it doesn't mean that it's not happening at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is season 2. So this is session talk. So anybody who missed season 1, which is Let's Talk About It, that is on all platforms. So it's on YouTube at In Session MFT. The same thing. It's on YouTube. It's on LinkedIn. It's on Facebook. Make sure y'all go like, comment, subscribe, add the profiles, watch whole season 1. You'll be able to see this season 2 of Session Talks there as well. So yeah, make sure y'all don't be a stranger. Join the family. Like, let's go. All right. So today we are joined by the beautiful, one of a kind, Miss Jenny.
Thank you.
I do want you to introduce yourself, and then I do want to kind of talk to you about like what gravitated me towards your platform,
Okay.
and then we'll get right into like all of the things.
I got you. So I am Jeny Rodrigue. I am a few things: a licensed addictions counselor, a DOT certified substance abuse professional, a licensed mental health professional. I am in Louisiana and New Orleans.
New Orleans, baby. baby.
So it's Mardi Gras time right now for us. I've been doing mental health since about 2012. And I just kind of fell in love with doing addiction treatment. So that's my specialty. I'm also a recovery wellness coach, which is basically a wellness coach that helps through recovery. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, I love that. First off, love Nola. Let's start there. Secondly, love that you've been in this field for so long, and I just kind of want to know, like a recovery coach, kind of what was like the driven to where you said like this is the field that I wanted to. I mean, mental health is huge. Let's start there. And there's so many different umbrellas under mental health. So why like substance? Why that area?
If I have to be honest, because God said so. I was not originally, like into seeing people with substance use, that's usually very difficult. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I was actually working at a mental health clinic, and I noticed that just about everybody I saw had some kind of substance use problem. And unfortunately, it was either swept under the rug or people weren't comfortable talking about it because of stigma, which actually made me want to dig into it more. And the more I did, the more I was like, oh, we need more Black people in this field, first of all. And yes, and we have to end the stigma because people are dying and they're just dying in silence. And yeah, they're dying in silence. Yeah. So that really just like drew me to it, and God was like, yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell you, girl. So I'm listening. I'm being obedient.
Listen, I'm here for it. And I agree. I think that, and this is kind of why I wanted to touch on this subject, because even in this platform, we talk about things. So I love to tell people, like, this platform is when we were younger, we were told to stay out of grown folks' business, but now we're the grown folks and we don't know how to maneuver and, throughout the world.
Yeah.
And so when I just thought about this topic and like seeing your platform, I was just like, oh yeah, like, and I'm gonna tell you in particular, you had a recent video that you put out on Friday. It was just like, well, let me know your relationship with alcohol.
Oh yeah.
And how do you feel? Like, when do you drink? What do you? And when I tell you, I was like, oh, because I'm like, hold on, no. The whole week, I'm like, I can't wait till Friday. I'm getting a drink. And when I seen that, I said, oh, like you really made me uncomfortable, which is why I gravitated towards it. Because I'm like, oh shoot, and then it had me thinking about this generation and how we resort to like alcohol. Where did that come from? So my mind was just going, because I'm like, one, I don't know if she's talking about me, but I'm like,
I'm all up in your house.
Listen, I was like, is Jenny here? Was she hearing me talk about the fact that I need a drink or weed or what? And then I was just like, well, this is, especially in my generation, or this generation now, like drinking is like a go-to. Like drinking is like, all right, let's do it, let's party. It's like, in order to have the vibes flowing, you have to drink.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to like touch on that, because it was like, wow, this is really important, and no one really takes time to self-reflect, which is another point that I want to talk about. But no one really takes the time to check on when they are drinking the most, or when they are drinking, you know what I mean, to be social, or is this your coping skill and stuff like that. So what was, let's talk about that post really quickly, like, because I told you my feelings towards it, and I was just like, wow, this is what I needed, because I like things that kind of like shift my heart posture a little bit. So where did you even like come up with that whole video?
Well, like I said, I'm in New Orleans. It's Mardi Gras time. So, New Orleans is already drinking. We don't really need a reason. Like, it's we woke up this morning, it's a reason. So Mardi Gras is just like, 10 times worse. So it really made me think about just how people don't necessarily always consciously drink. It becomes a pattern. It becomes, oh, I can't wait to get off today so I can have me a glass of wine. And before you know it, or before you realize it, you're drinking a bottle a day, which it's a problem drinking. It's problem drinking. So I don't think, necessarily people set out to have an issue with drinking or have an issue with drugs. It develops over time. And if we don't self-reflect, if we don't think about how much are we drinking, when are we drinking? And another part of that for me also was, when do you drink? Do you drink alone? Do you drink to be social? And even drinking socially can turn into an issue, because like I said, New Orleans, or just younger people, period, they might go out Friday and Saturday and they drinking from Friday all the way to Sunday. They just drinking and drinking and drinking. And so they thinking that's not a big deal. I drink on the weekend. But when you throwing them back like that every weekend, you're doing some damage to your body, and you are also becoming dependent on it to where you probably don't have fun if you don't drink. You don't know how to have fun if you don't drink. And on the other side, you don't know how to relax if you don't have that glass of wine.
Yeah.
So it's just really thinking about what's my relationship with alcohol, and is it a healthy one? Can I stop? Do I get sick when I stop? So all of that is kind of like what really made me think about it.
Right. What would you consider like a healthier relationship with alcohol? What does that look like?
Well, I mean, I could give you what the National Institute of Drug Abuse says, 4 drinks and all of that, but we're not really running around counting like that. So to me, when the relationship is healthy, you can stop, you can do all of your normal things. So if you work Monday through Friday and you get to work on time, you can take care of your children, you're not hiding in the closet to drink, like all of those things are stuff you really have to look at. Or if you're a weekend drinker, can I go out on the weekend and still have fun without drinking? Without drinking.
Honestly, we should make that a challenge. Like, who can go out on the weekend without drinking? Like, and what does the environment look like? I remember I was watching something where, like the group of people, like they always go out and drink, but then this one person, if they don't drink, like it's not the same. It's not the same amount of turn up. It's not, you don't feel comfortable. And it's just like, well, what does that say? Like, does that say that you're dependent on alcohol in order to be like the life of the party? Or is that saying maybe you shouldn't even be in there because that was never your crowd to begin with? And now you're in here just drinking to match the crowd. But that was just never.
That was never your crowd to begin with. So it could be either one. Because a lot of times when we drink to mask things. We mask anxiety, we mask sadness. Or we drink even because we're happy and we don't know how to be happy without a substance. So taking away that substance, even for a few days, can show you what your relationship is like with alcohol. So I always, like, we just had dry January, was the challenge to not drink through the whole month, to see what the relationship was like. But you can do that at any point. You can say, hey, I normally drink a glass of wine after work. This whole week, I'm not going to do it, and see what changes for me. Am I more irritable, or am I totally fine? So it's something you want to really pay attention to, because I think also we don't realize what we are passing down to people who see us, our other little people in the house. If they always seeing mama drink every time she gets off of work, they associate work with drinking. It's just how it's going to work. So it's just making sure that relationship stays healthy, that you are able to really meet all of your goals, needs, and you can really function and do what you need to do and want to do without alcohol. You can take it or leave it.
Right. You know what? That brings me to my next point of like, where do you feel like it comes from? Do you feel like, in my opinion, I know like social media has a huge stain on our community on drinking. And then one of the things you just mentioned was like passing down. So why do you feel like drinking itself is like so popularized or like normalized? Sure.
I think it's a few reasons. The first one would be because it's legal. You can go to the liquor store and get all the alcohol you want. Nobody's gonna tell you nothing. And it's perfectly legal. And so you don't have to do it in hiding. It's very normalized. It's less stigma. So you take that as opposed to heroin or something, it's very much so easier to do in public. So that's one of the big reasons I think that it's so popular. And also it's alcohol by nature is a depressant, which not in the way that we typically think of depression. It depresses the central nervous system. So if you're a normally anxious person, when you drink, that all goes down. It depresses. And the less anxious you are, the less, worried you are, the more fun you're going to have. So that's why alcohol is also associated as a party, drug or whatever however you want to word it. And it's also a status kind of thing too. When you think about, when you look at young people in the club, depending upon what they can afford to buy, how many bottles and all of that.
You touched on that. That is something I didn't even, I'm going to let you finish.
And then, the guys buying bottles is attracting women. So it's a whole lot of layers to it. But yeah, let's touch on that part.
Yes, a status. So it's like, all right, what kind of liquor you drinking versus, you know, do you have a bottle? Do you have a cup?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't even get a seat in the section in order, you know, to just relax and without buying a whole, you know, bunch of bottles. Wow, you know what? I didn't even think about that. And you got me there because I'm like, okay, like I've been doing my little research, but that is so true. Like it's a status culture as well.
Yeah.
For me, I want to agree, and I also want to say like the fact that like liquor stores, and I don't know too much about New Orleans, but the liquor stores are like right on every corner. Let's start there.
Yes.
And so I don't think that those are accidentally placed within the black community. Let's start there. And then, not to mention, when COVID had started and everything was closed down except for essential workers, what was an essential worker? The liquor store. Every liquor store was open. And I'm just like, but I can't even get proper health care or change up my like DMV status or anything, but I could go to the liquor store because that's always open.
Yeah.
That portion in itself was mind blowing. I was just like, the liquor store is an essential worker? How? You know,
because I mean, long as you pay some bread in there and some milk, now you can say it's a grocery store and it needs to be open. So that's how they get away with that one.
Oh my!
But to your other point, it's not by mistake. It's definitely by design.
Right.
I think a lot of liquor stores and places where you can obtain alcohol are in certain neighborhoods because it's another way to, I guess, in a way, keep us calm and controlled. If I can make sure you have access to some sort of lubrication, I don't have to worry about you being able to venture off into this neighborhood, or maybe even do so much better at work or in your status to where you can move to this neighborhood. And of course, that doesn't work with everyone, but it's definitely by design. There's a reason why you'll see them more in African-American neighborhoods than not. Right. Yeah.
I also want to talk about or touch on the culture. So outside of it being like accessible, how do you feel like you're able to like self-reflect and check yourself in a place like New Orleans? Like, I think that is a beautiful place to start, because when people think, not even people from New Orleans, but when people go to New Orleans, it's like the picture and the perception is party,
Bourbon Street, and party 24 hours a day.
And so how do you control yourself in an environment like that?
I think the most important thing is to prepare before you go. Know what your limits are and what you want your vacation to look like. Because I don't know about everybody else, but I wouldn't necessarily want my vacation to look like something I can't ever remember because I was blackout drunk. So kind of know your limits. And I always say for women, it's a safety thing too. You don't want to, be so inebriated that you don't know where you are, or if you can be assaulted, hurt. It's, because I mean, I love New Orleans, but you got to be on your P's and Q's. So yeah, prepare. Kind of think about how often do I drink? What are my typical types of drink? Am I a wine drinker, or do I like whiskey? If I like whiskey, how many shots can I do before I'm passed out? Okay, well, I don't want to do those many. But how many can I do and safely get where I need to get, do what I need to do? And just don't think about it as this is the only thing to do when you come to New Orleans, because it's not. There's a lot of other things to do. There is a lot and you don't have to be totally intoxicated to do it either.
For sure, I definitely agree. I agree with that for sure. Sorry, I'll tell you, bear with me.
No, I understand.
They are fighting me back, and I'm just like, whew. All right. So speaking on that, how important do you feel like self-reflection is? Like, what in your opinion is when someone is like, all right, I'm doing a lot of self-reflecting or being self-aware, what does that even mean for you?
Oh, when it comes to alcohol or drug use, I would say self-awareness is knowing yourself, knowing your body, knowing your limits, and knowing what's comfortable for you. Okay. I always err on the side of everybody must do what works for them. So let's say if I have a client that says, hey, I drink 4 6-packs a week. And I don't want to typically stop altogether, but I am kind of noticing I'm getting late to work every morning. I got a headache. When I do decide that I'm not going to drink, I'm very irritable. So you really want to pay attention to all of those little details and say, well, you know, you're doing 4 a week. Let's cut back to 2 and see what that looks like for you.
Right.
Because that's, you know, I think we have to be realistic. You know, abstinence is always great, and that's always, you know, what we might want to go for, but that may not work for everyone. And I think we turn a lot of people off from getting treatment or even having the conversation because they're like, well, I don't really want to totally give up alcohol, but I do feel like I probably need to cut down. And I'm scared to say I need to cut down because people are going to expect me to totally stop.
Yeah.
And so we have to be open to the conversation of, well, what works for you?
Yeah.
What have you noticed? And how can we work to your goal? Because it's your life and you have to live it. So we need to do what works for you. So I think that's the first place you can kind of start looking at.
I agree. Yeah. I totally agree, especially it's not impossible, but it's very hard when people just like cut off something like cold turkey, because you have to also think about the duration of how long you've been drinking and what did that look like. And if you were using alcohol as this like substance to cope, now you're taking that away, and it's very important to be able to
replace it with?
swap it with. Exactly. Like, what are you replacing it with? I can't tell somebody, all right, you know, you got to stop, and then they have no other coping or math. Like, it's a recipe for disaster. Let's start there.
Definitely. Yes. And the other part of that disaster could be withdrawals. You know, and, you know, people don't always think about, I drink so much that when I stop, I shake. Or, you know, I get the shakes and they just normalize it. But getting the shakes can be very dangerous. And we really need to be able to talk about that so we can say, hey, you need to do this or you need to do this so that we can make sure you're healthy and you're safe. So I always, like I said, always, it's an individual basis. But the best way to check it is to be honest with yourself. What does alcohol do for me? And we have to be honest about that. Nobody decides to use alcohol or drugs because they want to ruin their lives. It does something for them. You know, even people who may use like heroin or cocaine, it does something for them. So the first part is being honest. What does it do for you? And how do we replace that once we take that away? So, yeah. Right.
Oh, I agree. I definitely agree. So what do you feel like are some like alcohol red flags, like where we should be mindful of? Like, if you feel like you drinking 5 days a week, maybe that's like a red flag. Like, what do you think somebody can like point out within themselves that's now a red flag that they're probably using it too much?
I would say, how much do you drink is also another one. So even if you only drink 3 days out the week, oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Look, I understand them sinuses, okay? So yeah, is even if you just drink 3 days a week, but you are drinking so much to where you're sick. There's something called the CAGE assessment. So it kind of stands for something. It's like cut down. When you attempt to cut down, what does that look like for you? Do you need an eye opener? So as people say, hair of the dog. If I drank last night, do I have to drink this morning to feel okay? And that's where you come in with the shakes and the headaches and all of that.
You know, they say the best way to get over a hangover is to drink more.
So when you find yourself doing that, then it might be time to have a little conversation. And then the other part is, are people who love you telling you, it kind of feels like this could be too much? Or are you noticing people who love you don't want to hang around you as much because you are mean drunk, or you are just bless you? So
out of all days,
I told you I understand. So yeah, it's all of looking at all of those factors are very, very important.
Yeah.
Especially listening to those who care about you and love you, that are saying, you know, I just don't like being around you when you drink. You get mean, or I don't like being around you when you drink because I never know who you're going to be. When your personality changes, that's something to look at. But if you want to think about it before it gets to that level, I would say track how much you drink. A lot of times you don't pay attention to how much we drink. We just, after work, like I said, that glass of wine, how big is that glass? Because I've seen, you ever seen them glasses that you pour the whole bottle into?
The whole bottle goes straight.
So I don't want to hear, I drink a glass of wine a day, Jeny. No, you don't. You do not. You drink a bottle a day. And I need you to be very aware of what that looks like. Just like people who drink beer. Do you drink a 24-ounce beer, or do you drink an 8-ounce or a 12-ounce? Because that also makes a difference of how much you're drinking. You just want to be able to say, I only drink one. No. No, that's not true. That's about 3 of them crammed up in there. So you need to look at all of that. So even if it takes writing down, what do I drink? Another exercise I tell people is write down how you feel before you drink. And then after you drink, how do you feel? Because a lot of times people don't realize they start to feel guilty. When you start to feel that guilt, it's your intuition is telling you this is not healthy. This is not working for us. And that could be before you are getting, smashed drunk or whatever. It could just be like, something in my spirit don't feel right about how much I'm drinking. So maybe I do need to look at this. So it's just about being honest with yourself and being honest with one another. We have to be able to say, girl, I love you, but listen, you on Hennessy is a problem, and I can't do it no more. And I gotta be able to say it in love. You gotta hear it in love, and then we gotta go from there.
Right.
Yeah.
So my next thing was gonna be like, how do you tell someone? Like, what would you do if one of your friends or your family members, where you notice that their drinking has become something that's hard to be around? Like, what kind of ways can people support their relatives or anyone around them with saying, like, I think you need to get help?
I always tell people, don't talk to them while they're intoxicated. That's the first rule. You never want to try to have a conversation about drinking with someone who's already intoxicated.
Why not?
Because you're going to find out real fast that it's going to go left.
They're not going off.
So I always get sisters or brothers or moms that's like, well, he was on his 3rd 6-pack and I just told him you drink too much. Well, that wasn't the best time to tell him that, Mom. You want to know why? He's not hearing you the same way he would when he's not. So you want to wait until it's, a good time. If you have a spouse and y'all eat dinner together every night, before y'all start drinking, if y'all just starting to talk about your day, hey, I want you to know I love you. Start off like that. Start off with affirming them. You have a beautiful soul, and I really don't want to see anything bad happen to you. But I've noticed, you're drinking a little bit more. Is there something you need to talk about? Is there somebody you would like us to reach out to get you some help? And, or just do you want to just talk to me about it? However you want to do it. But I want you to know I love you and I'm worried about you. And make sure you just have that conversation at a good time, at a loving time, and do not wait until the person is intoxicated. Because at that point, you're probably angry, and they're going to get angry if they're not already there. Right. Because you don't want to wait till you're fed up with it and you're ready to walk out the door. That's not the best time to have.
That's important. That is important. You gotta say something a lot sooner than I can't deal with this. That is important. Yeah. Wow. Jeny dropping gems.
Thank you.
Listen, if y'all not picking it up, I don't know what y'all doing.
Listen, I'm trying.
Listen, I want to know, what do you feel about, or how do you feel about the Black and Brown community not being open to asking or receive help? And how do you feel like that coincides with the alcohol usage and like the uses of their substances?
Oh, it's multi-layered, of course. It's just like everything else within our community. But, we taught to be strong, and it comes literally comes from our ancestors. Like, they had to be strong to survive, and that's been ingrained and that's been passed down. So asking for help for us, I think our generation is getting to the point where we are more okay with therapy, more okay with asking for help. But I can remember, you don't go talking to people outside the house about nothing. Keep it in the house. So if granddaddy was drinking himself crazy, you don't go say that at school. You don't go talk to nobody about that. That stays within the house. And mom, she gotta be strong. So if it takes a little bit of wine or alcohol or whatever to help her stay strong, quote unquote, and take care of the kids and work 2 jobs and everything else she has to do, we just deal with it. And I think now, thankfully, our generation is to a point where we like, look, I don't want to live like this no more. This ain't working for me. And I don't want to live like this no more. I'm strong, but strength does not mean I have to carry everything on my shoulders all the time. Strength means I know when to ask for help and I know how to receive help. That is strength now. So I think that's one of the biggest things. And then I would say even in the Hispanic community, which I ain't gonna touch on too much because I love my brown brother, but I ain't one of them. So I don't want to say nothing wrong. But in the clients I've worked with in that community, it's a lot of men are taught to drink. Like that's how you show you a man. Like, it's a part of being a man. Men drink, and then there's certain drinks that they drink. So it's usually hard liquor. And so it's just, that is a part of it. And if you don't, it's like you looked at it a little differently. So trying to go to them and say, hey, I think I got a problem with drinking. How you tripping? No, we gonna get out on this lawn Friday night and we gonna get these Coronas and we gonna get it popping. And they don't want to seem like they're different or that they're not strong or that they're not a man. So it's a little harder. And I think, our strong Black men also have to have that problem. So it's a lot of layers, just like everything else. But the biggest part is tearing down that idea of we have to be strong all the time, no matter what toll that takes on us. Strength has to look different for us.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, when I learned how to return all my problems to the sender, I was just like, I don't want this no more. Hold on. I don't know who gave this to me, but let me tell you something. No, thank you. Like, when I started just giving it back, I needed people to know, like, I'm not trying to be strong anymore. That's not what I want. No, thank you.
Don't give me that like that's no badge of honor. Because the way you trying to make me think strength looks is not the way my strength looks anymore. Okay, that's not how it looks for me.
Why do you feel like this generation is like more receptive, and what do you feel like was that switch where we're all like therapy at this point is getting thrown left to right? I don't know. It's like a trend now, which is not a bad trend. It's just making sure that we're using certain words properly so that they're not.
Because everybody ain't no narcissist. So please stop. Stop doing it.
Oh my God, that's a whole other conversation.
Got to stop. But I think one of the bigger reasons is I think as we get more technology, we have that collective look. Like just like when George Floyd was killed, that was a moment in which all Black people, even people outside of being Black, felt that pain. And we were able to unfortunately see in real time and experience that. And so it's like with social media, people get on and they say things that they may not normally say face to face with other people. So I think now we're getting to a point where with technology, we have more of a collective in which we are getting out and saying things more, and we are more comfortable saying what's happening behind the scenes that just isn't working for us anymore. And so we have that reach, which, I love social media. It can have its, downfalls, but that's the good part when you have a positive community in which you can have those conversations.
Yeah, definitely agree, because it could go both ways. Like I said, social media will have you thinking that you need to have like the latest alcohol, like you said, the trends. You need to try this, and never mind the celebrities who are coming up with alcohol brands now you support this celebrity, so you want to buy their thing. It's just like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
So it could work in some great ways where everyone is just, you know, the algorithm is positive and you getting motivated and you're being fed like brightness and joy, or you could be on the other side of the algorithm where you're just, you know what I mean, you're letting certain things on social media into your mind. You're not even conscious of like the negative things that are being placed, and it's just crazy. It's like I don't know, like a night and day kind of thing, depending on what you're subscribed to.
And you have to be really conscious about that too, especially for people who are trying to stop drinking or have stopped. You really have to teach the algorithm what to show you, because clients, it never fails when they like, I decided I'm gonna stop drinking, and not every alcohol brand is showing up on my feed.
Listen, first off, everything is tapped. They hearing us. I don't know if anybody's listening. Listen, we just talking about. No, I'm kidding.
It does feel like that. It really does feel like that.
Everything. All we gotta do is say, like, watch. By the time we end, a whole bunch of stuff about like alcohol randomly is just gonna pop up, which is the strangest thing for me. I don't know how they're working things.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, wow, is this crazy? So yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. So what do you think, some like kind of advice that you would give to our generation, and even though, let's start with our generation and how that might influence the generation under. So what would you say to them, just about like self-reflecting and being able to check, you know, where you are and what that looks like?
Like I said before, be honest with yourself. Self-reflection looks different for everyone. I'll be personal for myself. Every day I try to journal and write down my feelings, write down what I'm going through, and be honest with myself about how is this affecting me. And get you some people who really love you. Like, I have a support system that's able to say, hey, girl, you going through some stuff today, huh? 'Cause I can hear it, you know. I can hear it. So you need to also get some people in real life, not just, you know, on social media. But if that's all you have, that's good too. But you need people who love you, know you, and can, in love, let you know something is going on. And in self-reflection, you're going to be able to receive that. The more you self-reflect, the more you'll be able to receive that in love. So keep, like I said, keep track. If you're worried about how much you drink, or even if you just want to do the experiment, write down before you drink how you feel. What was your day like? And then afterwards, how do I feel? What do I want my day to now look like? And you may notice trends. You may notice that every time I talk to ain't so and so, I got a drink. You may notice that trend, and then you gotta look like, you know what? Ain't so and so. I'm gonna have to talk to her when I have space. When I have the space to receive and hear her. Because if I don't, I'm gonna have to drink, and then I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to be inebriated to deal with her. It's not worth my health. And I think that's another thing. Our generation is getting a whole lot better. Look, I love my family, but that don't mean you have the right to treat me any old kind of way. So that's also important. You know, having boundaries is self-care. Being able to say no is self-care, and that's also self-awareness. You have to be able to say, look, I don't think I can do this today. I need to really just spend some time letting my spirit wind down, let myself wind down. I can't really, you know, go out tonight, and that's okay. And you need to be surrounded by people who can hear that and receive that and support you when you do decide, I don't want to drink, or, you know, I want to cut down. They'll say, hey, that's your second shot. How much you said you wanted to do tonight? And they'll be able to have that conversation with you too.
Yeah, I agree. The biggest thing first of all, thank you for your response. I love it. The biggest thing that I'm hearing so far though is like, you know, accountability.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. Being able to be observant and the community. And I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of people here that doesn't have that sense of community. And so, although that is great, well, you could I want to just hear your perspective on like how big or influential it is to have a community. Let's just start there first, and then I'll ask my follow-up question. Let's just talk about.
It's very important to have a community, but like I said, with social media, the good thing is you can develop a community completely online.
Right.
There's so many groups for people who are different kinds of sober curious, Black and sober, Hispanic and sober, sober for 30 plus years, sober for 30 days, Cali sober, or look, I ain't stopping my weed, but I ain't drinking no more. So whatever it is you're looking for, there is a community out there on social media for that. So that's the good side of social media. Even if we don't have those people in our lives necessarily that we can tangibly touch every day, we can develop that community as well. And that's for anything. Like as therapists, we may have other therapist friends in our lives, but we can develop that community online as well. So it's just but you have to have support. Nobody is an island. None of us are meant to do life alone. It's just not going to
not gonna work. Well, how do you say what would you say to someone who has been on this journey where they stop drinking, but then they have like a relapse where they're just like binging? Like, what kind of words would you say to someone going through that?
First of all, it's okay. It's okay. You are human and you are trying, and that's the first step. I just want you to know what it is that your goal is. And look, I've been losing weight for I can't tell you how many years.
Oh my God.
I can't tell you how many years I've been losing weight. And I do good for a little while, and then I fall off, and then I come back. It's a part of, I always say relapse is like the silent part of the cycle, because relapse tends to happen. But the important thing is to not beat yourself up, to realize that it happens. The biggest part of alcoholism and, drug use is shame and guilt. And that is what keeps people hurting and hiding. And that's why people are dying, to be, perfectly honest. So we have to be able to say, hey, I had a slip. I really want to get back on. Because trust me, that person is going to beat themselves up better than you ever could. So you have no need to. You do not need to. You need to support, and you need to normalize it for them and let them know it's okay. It happens. Come on back to the community. We got you, and we're going to help you get back up, and we're going to help you on that journey. It's very normal. Relapse is very normal. It happens, but you can recover from it, and do not beat yourself up, because that's going to make you want to drink more probably. So let's not do that.
What do you feel like are some like affirmations that people can say, or just different like things that they could take away if they want to start to journal, which is something that I think is a great idea? What do you feel like, where do you think that they can start?
I think for me personally, the most important thing I had to realize is that my journal is just for me. When I first started journaling, I wanted to make sure I had capital letters and periods and things made sense. Like I had to turn it into my English teacher. That is not the case. Your journal is just for you. If it don't make sense, that's fine. If you start off talking about one topic and then you get into another, that's fine. Because what's really happening is you're allowing your mind to release a lot of things that you may not even know needed to be released. So if you want to get started journaling, it depends on how you want to do it. I'm old fashioned with my journaling. I have a notebook. But most of my clients are like, Jeny, you do realize Apple have a journal app. But I'm like, yeah, but I'm just old fashioned with mine. So if you are more comfortable doing it on your phone, because that way you could just take it out whenever, when you're at work, you could do it like that. A good journal prompt to start out when you're first starting out is, how do I feel today? And how do I feel? And just let it all out. And as you go, you'll start to develop more. I try to put up journal prompts at least 3 times a week. I found that it helps to have that journal community as well, to normalize it and help you come up with prompts. And I would say, if you're like in recovery or trying to start recovery and you're journaling, be very honest with yourself, because it's your journal, but also have you some affirmations. My favorite one is, I am enough. Bless you.
Ooh, that's love. That's how powerful.
That was my amen right there. But yeah, and this is one I am enough as is, without changes, without exception. So
hey,
so that's something you can repeat no matter where you are in life. I am enough. And you know, whatever changes I want to make, that's great. Like I said, I've been losing weight for a long time, and I still plan to do that. But if I don't lose a pound, I'm enough. Yeah. And I have to know that in order for other people to feel that and know that. Bless you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. I agree. Okay, I want to bring us back. We're almost there, but I want to bring us back to one of the questions. So you were able to touch on this generation of like what kind of advice we would give, but I want to know for the generation that comes to follow, what do you feel like our influences, or how do you feel like our influences now is going to be able to influence them?
I think a lot of it is what we're doing now, having a conversation. Yeah. Something like this would have never happened, you know, just a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, I have a 15-year-old son. He knows that I'm in here having a conversation about this. I have conversations with him about drugs and alcohol. I normalize the conversation. You don't have to, you know, go in nervous and worried, but talk to your kids. Kids are facing stuff that we ain't never had to face. Yeah. Never. So, you know, like I said, social media is good and bad. Kids can now buy drugs online completely. So that's not something that we've ever had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to have that conversation, and you got to make it normal and make it okay for them to come to you. And I'm talking, we don't have to make it like some serious, come sit down. I want to have this conversation with you. No, it could be we just eating like, so people vape at your school, or what y'all be doing over there? You know, and it's just like eventually they're going to start to feel comfortable talking to you about it. And then you're going to be able to influence them more than those people at school influence them. Because if you're not talking about it, but people at school doing it, guess what? Guess who's winning? So just because we don't talk about it, like you said, just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean it's not happening. That's how we influence the next generation, is being honest, open, and talking about it.
Yeah, and creating that safe space. Yeah. That's something that's huge that you just said. That absolutely, I wish I had, you know.
I know, right?
Growing up, or just being educated on just certain things, but outside of being educated, feeling comfortable to express. And so I want, you know, just anybody watching this to be able to find someone, journal, anything, just to feel comfortable to express who you are and the challenges that you are facing. Find someone so you know that you're not alone. Just talk to me. I mean, hit me. You know what I mean? Anybody. If you need anything, just like make sure that you're having like a specific accountability partner. Probably one that's not trying to do the opposite of what you're doing, because then that kind of, you know, so your influences around you are a huge impact. And changing your circles are really important, in my opinion. All right, who do you want to be? What does that look like? How can we shift what's going on, and in order to be that person? Like, or what does that person even look like? And how do we get there? So these are certain like self-reflecting questions, or things that you could just think about to propose, like, you know, change your way of thinking so that we can positively affect the generations afterwards, and maybe they'll be able to, you know, pass on those type of healings.
Yeah, and they'll go further than we went, and then their children will go further. And before you know it, we will have real, true honesty and no stigma. Like, no stigma is my forever goal. That's what I strive towards. But if I don't achieve it, I'm hoping my grandchildren achieve it. So, and in order for that to happen, I have to still do my work. So we got to be honest and have the conversations. So thank you for having me for conversation.
Of course. Like, it starts somewhere. So thank you so much for joining. We are going to wrap it up, but I do want everyone to, if you can, tell everyone your name, reintroduce yourself, and just like where people can find you, where can people, any suggestions, or like if someone was trying to stop or be self-reflective, where could they get some type of level of support from and things
Okay.
like
So to reintroduce myself, I am Jeny Rodrigue. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Jeny, which with one N, Jeny Rodrigue underscore therapist. I am a co-owner of a Pathway to Life Counseling in Metairie, Louisiana. And you can find our website, www.pathwaytolifecounseling.com. And I want to always say, if you need to reach out to someone, I'm always open and ready for that. But also, I want everybody to always have 988 handy for crisis.
that.
I think we can also utilize that service in a
Yeah.
crisis. But if you just think, I'm not in a crisis or anything, but I'm just kind of ready to see what, maybe stopping could look like, you can reach out to me. SAMHSA has some great resources on rethinking drinking, is what they call it. They have some great resources on how to talk to your kids and other adolescents about drinking. They have resources on what healthy relationships with alcohol could look like. But also, like I said, keep looking at my Instagram, because I intend to continue to have that conversation and talk about what that looks like.
Yep. Keep checking her Instagram. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, all of the things. Follow her, DM, all the things if you guys have questions. I loved her content. I still love her content on her.
Thank you.
On your platform. It drives me to think. It drives me to self-reflect. It drives me to pay attention to what's more important and my triggers and things like that. So I thank you for having your platform to be able to help and heal and support with passing down generational healing and not trauma. So I want to thank you for all of the work that you already do and all the work that you're about to do and all the people that you have touched so far. I just want to thank you for your services and thank you for your work and putting these type of conversations out there. And then thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for these conversations.
Thank you. No problem. So thank you all for joining. Again, this is In Session, and being an acronym for the word intentional, so intentional sessions. My name is Raquel Simmons. I probably didn't even say that to begin with. So my name is Raquel Simmons. I'm a marriage and family therapist, and I have been joined here with the beautiful Jeny. Make sure you guys check her out. And thank you so much for joining and watching.
Y'all have a great night.
Great night. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.